Welcome back to Let's Play Capo 2.
私のクラスは午後自習になってるから、図書室で調べ物しようと思って。
You know, these videos must be pretty awkward for someone, say, randomly stumble across it. Because, like, if you haven't watched it from the beginning or anything like that, it seems like each part would just be like, welcome back? What do you mean by that? Just like, you have to see the previous part and the part before that. It's just kind of what I do, isn't it? It's just like, whenever I start a new recording, I must always say, welcome back to Let's Play Insert Game or Visual Novel here. Ah, I see, I'm going back to my classroom, so I'll see you later.
午後の授業、頑張って。居眠りとかしちゃダメだよ。
Yeah, I know. I waved my hand in reply to Otne's words and left the student council room. That's one thing I notice about myself. When I'm in a car, like, if I'm in a car for like, say, 20 minutes or so, just like, I'm luckily not the one driving because, well, you see what happens is I'm usually just like, drowsy. Not the snoring bit, but my eyes just kind of feel like it's like, just like, yep. It's just like I would not be able to drive like that. Chan. Where am I? It's cold and the wind is blowing through the cherry blossom petals. That's clearly Otome, isn't it? There's a girl with a stern expression sitting on a bench over in that corner. Is this a dream? Chan, what are you doing in a place like this? It's like, oh, who could this be? It doesn't even really bother to just like contain the suspense, right? No, the girl didn't move a muscle in reply to those words. Her head was tilted down and her shoulders were tensed up. She had her eyes firmly fixed on the ground. Hey, Oni-chan, can you hear me?
聞こえてるよ。
Ah, what a relief, you finally said something. Alright, this girl is... Hey, let's play together. There's a huge cherry tree over there. The branches are so thick that you can climb all the way to the top.
どうして私があなたと遊ばなきゃいけないの？
She looked at me with cold eyes. It really is, like... I had a feeling, like, when it first showed the first flashback where they actually met, I was just, like, had the feeling that their relationship probably started on a pretty crummy note, but it just, like, goes to show how much change has happened, because now she's, like, overprotective of him and all that. But how was it, like, in the beginning overall, and how did it switch, is the question. And it's a question that will be answered by the plot, inevitably. But don't answer it for me, because I haven't actually got a clue. This girl is Otne back when she was a kid. And the person she's talking to is me. Wait, is this Otne's dream then? Why? Because I want to play with you, Oni-chan. I'm also a bit worried for you. I'm really worried for you, Oni-chan. Yume-chan as well. You're not talking to anyone and you're hardly eating anything. If you keep this up, you'll get sick.
いいの。私は病気になりたいんだから。
The Otne I just met wasn't a cheerful girl she is these days. I'd never seen her smile and she always shut others out by acting cold towards them. That's no good. If you get sick, Yume-chan, Sakura-san, and Junichi-san will be really sad, you know.
いいの。
The young Otne almost screamed that at me.
このままずっとご飯食べないで病気になって。そうしたらお母さんと同じところに行けるんだから。
Ah, I see. Otne shouted that as if to reject everything I had said. The reason Otne had shut herself off from everyone else was because Yuki, her mother, had died. But if you go to where your mum is, you won't be able to see any of us again, you know.
いいの。
It's not fine, Oni-chan. You're a very important part of our family.
だって私とは違うもん。みんなには私の気持ちはわかんないんだもん。
Back then, I was unable to understand what she meant by that. But I couldn't turn my back on her after hearing her say that. I promised Suki-san that I would protect Otne. I wanted to see Otne smile more than anything. Wait, could this be the promise that he made back then? Something along those lines? I was sure that, rather than her cold expression, a smile suited her much better. That's why I used magic. It was the magic Junichi-san had taught me, the one that could make anyone smile. What, the candy thing? Candy doesn't make people smile, necessarily. Here, eat this. I closed my hand, and when I opened it, I was holding an unshapely little manju. Otne looked surprised. Come to think of it, that was probably the first time I saw her change her facial expression. It's sweet and tasty. Probably. I just barely learned it. I really had no confidence in the taste. I made it. Would you believe me if I told you it was magic? Yeah, it's an awesome magic spell that'll make anyone smile. Seriously, how? Otne eyed that unshapely little manju for a while. I mean, if that was the case, you'd be like, I'm not eating that. Why? Because the way you explain it just makes no sense to me. What's in this thing? You don't like sweet stuff? Having said that, she put the manju in her mouth all while looking really terrified. She chewed it and swallowed it. Hearing that, I was prepared for the worst. But Otne made a face like it tasted really terrible, but she was smiling. The magic worked! Oh, come on. It just doesn't make sense. If someone's just down in the dumps depressed, you just be like, here's some candy. Just like, It's not like they're gonna get a smile out of you, at least not a legitimate one. Well, it depends on the person and all that, I suppose. After laughing a little bit, she turned her head toward me. Her eyes looked so gentle. Otne closed her hand, held it out, and when she opened it, she revealed a manju that looked way more delicious than the one I created. Ah! When Otne saw my surprised face, she smiled like she was having fun. She looked so honest. Otne-chan, can you also use magic? I use my powers to create candy. I am truly a sorceress. It's candy, though. Well, there's probably more to it than that. What's that? Today moved closer and put the manju in my mouth. An elegant sweetness spread throughout my mouth. It's delicious. She tilted her head and smiled happily at me. Instead of the cold atmosphere around her earlier, it was now soft and warm. I had no idea why she had suddenly changed like that, but I was glad that she had gone through such a transformation. Or maybe she smiled because he'd learnt the magic or something, I don't know. Huh? And she's going to call you that for the rest of your life, even at your wedding, probably. She sounded a bit worried as she said that. It's okay. Otne smiled with relief as I told her that. Secret? Why? Yeah. Yeah, I got it. It's candy. Be as what?
困ったことがあった時とかに助け合う関係なんだって。
Or is this actually legit, or is it just their imagination or I don't know. There's gotta be more to it than the candy thing, otherwise this is, well, I have no idea. I'll just let the plot reveal it in time, I suppose.
弟くんは私と一心同体でもいい？
She once again looked at me anxiously. As she did that, I remembered what Yuki-san had told me.
あの子たちすぐ強がるけど本当はすごく弱いから二人のこと守ってあげて。
I felt that I really had to protect Otne. But it wasn't because I had promised Yuki-san, it was just what I wanted to do. You know, with that, it seems kind of one-sided, really. What if Yoshiyuki's in the same boat there? He's just, like, kind of emotionally weak as well. Just like, I've gotta, like, take care of you two. Who's gonna take care of me, then? Okay.
それじゃあ指切り。
There's always the pinky swear. We entwined our pinky fingers to seal the promise. You know, I've mentioned it quite a few times in my videos, but I've got a missing finger on my left hand, and you know which one it is? It's the pinky.
指切り玄満嘘ついたら針千本のます指切った。
That sounds painful. I'd have to use my right hand for that, because it's the only one that has the pinky. As we let our fingers go, Otne looked like the weight of the world had been lifted from her shoulders. Her entire face was smiling soft and warm. All this over candy.
これで私たちは一心同体だからね。
You know the way it escalated from cold to just like kind of smiling and all happy and all that? It makes it seem like one of those over-the-top adverts, isn't it? Just like, they give them some product and then suddenly it's like, now I feel fantastic! I feel I can take on the world with all this enthusiasm that's built up inside of me from this Kit Kat or something, I don't know. It just seems absurd. Or maybe it's not. Wah! The dream world collapsed like a sandcastle around me, and in the blink of an eye I was returned to the waking world. Oh, what the hell?
なんだよとはご挨拶ね。色ぼけで学業成績ストップ安更新中の給油を憂いて忠告してあげようと思ったのに。
My grades? What are you talking about?
今日小テストだったんだよ。それなのにずっと寝てるなんて。先生もさすがに呆れてたよ。
How does someone sleep for an entire class and the teacher not wake them up? I mean, unless they're a really heavy sleeper, or does the teacher not even bother? He's like, oh, I don't really care, my job's to teach, but if they're not gonna learn, then I don't give a shit.
何かゴニョゴニョ喋ってるかと思えば、お姉ちゃんですね。焼けちゃうな。夢の中まで乙女先輩萌えだなんて気合入ってるわね。
Hey, wait, just what did I say while I was sleeping?
そりゃもう内心に響くどころか、今すぐ生活指導室に呼び出されても仕方ないようなセリフを次々に。乙女、俺もう我慢できないんだ。頼む、俺の気持ちをほとばしる衝動を受け止めてくれ。いや、弟くん、ダメだよ。新鮮な生徒会室でこんなことするなんて、私まだ心の準備が。
Hey, wait just a moment, I'm sure I never actually said that.
知らぬは本人ばかりなりか。まあ、生徒会室から赤紙が届くのを楽しみにしときなよ。
Damn it! Hands on Akane treat me like a toy. Well, what else is new? They always act like this. However, that was a really nostalgic dream. Well, actually, there is an exception to that. In Anzu's route, kind of changed, didn't it? I'd forgotten all about that until now. But why did I forget it? That was the important promise Otne was talking about. Usually there's no way someone would forget something like that. One body and soul, huh? I tried saying it out loud. Man, we sure did make a pretty embarrassing promise. Why would you further the embarrassment by saying it out loud then? Because now they're probably gonna ask you about it, and if you try to explain it, you just be like, oh, that's embarrassing. And it sounded so natural back then. Hands in the eyes were being noisy, but I couldn't really be bold to listen to what they were saying. It's probably like that, I don't know what you'd call it really, it's just a kind of noise that you hear whenever loads of people are talking and you can't understand a word they're saying. It's like mumbling kind of sound to it, it's just like weird. That's probably what the classroom sounded like. I stretched my body as the bell rang out at the end of the day. Finally, that was the last lesson for the day. Alright, it's after school. I wonder what I should do now. You know, we learn nothing in this school, do we? Or any school in visual novels for the most part. Because we don't actually get to sit through the classes. Can you imagine if we actually did? That'd be interesting. I could hear someone mumbling with a grudge behind me.
きっとお前はこの後乙女先輩を教室まで迎えに行って二人で仲睦まじく下校しようとしているに違いない。同じ年齢、同じ教室、同じ制服、それなのにどうしてこうも差が出るのか。理不尽だ、理不尽すぎる。くそバカ、義行くんのバカ。
Having said what he wanted, Wataru left the classroom before he started crying. But he was already crying before he left. Man, how long are these messy days going to continue for? But maybe I should walk home together with her like Wataru said. We're dating and stuff, so walking home together shouldn't be a big deal. I really want to talk to her about that dream too. Alright, I'll go pick her up. I'm pretty sure she said she'd be investigating something in the library this afternoon. Aha! There she is! What now? How's the investigation going? It looked like she was too focused on the book to hear what I was saying. There were a bunch of really heavy books and a stack of newspapers piled up all around on there. Looks like she's investigating something really important, so I should probably stay quiet for now.
これくらいにしとこっと。目が疲れてきちゃった。
Good work!
弟くん、いつからそこにいたの?
You know, I get that quite often, but for different reasons than him. Because I could walk in a room and I don't make myself known. I don't say just like, hey, or just like state what business I have. I just stay there until, like, my existence has been acknowledged in the room. So it tends to freak people out a lot. Just be standing in a room and people just be like looking in a different direction, then they look towards me and just be like, whoa, Jesus Christ, where do you come from? Courtney looked flustered and raised her head to look at me. For half an hour or so you looked pretty busy and I didn't want to disturb you.
気にしないで声かけてくれればよかったのに。
What are you investigating? Courtney showed me what she was holding. It was today's newspaper. On the front page was the big caption reading, "A sudden surge in people falling unconscious due to unknown cause. Was there a gas leak?" That's quite a long title. You've been investigating Hatsune Island?
ちょっと気になって。年末あたりからの新聞を見返してたんだけど、本当にいろいろ起きてるんだなって。放火とか車の事故とかもそうなんだけど、一番多いのは人が突然倒れることなんだって。
You mean like that one?
突然意識不明になって病院に運ばれる人が急増してるみたい。でも今のところ命に別状があったりとかはないんだって。みんな突然意識を失って病院に運ばれるんだけど、 特に体に異常はなくてすぐ元気になる。どうして倒れたのか、その原因は不明。不思議だよね。
Otne kept talking as she flipped through the pages of the newspaper. Yeah, it was definitely mysterious. It wouldn't be if it were just one or two people, but since there were so many, there had to be some common cause for it. So, what about that gas leak thing?
何か特殊なガスが漏れて、それを吸った人が意識を失ってるんじゃないかって。でもそんなガスの形跡どこにもないって。だからただの推測。
It's the trees, isn't it? Well, maybe. I don't know. Actually, I have a kind of another idea here. Whatever's causing this is probably what triggers the trees to die. Whatever cause is behind all this has gotta be connected to that. I mean, I knew, like, it has some connection, but now I feel more convinced there's gotta be a connection there. I see.
あと気になるのがもう一つ。調べてみて分かったんだけど、この発明島で起きてる事件、放火、車の事故、爆発、物の落下とか、本当いろんなことが起きてるんだけど、死者はまだ一人も出てないの。怪我人もそんなに多くない。一番ひどいので弟くんが見たって言ってた看板の落下事故かな。それ以外の事件では怪我人もほとんど出てないみたい。
All these things have been happening, but there hasn't been a single death.
弟くん、これって普通にあり得ると思う？偶然で片付けられると思う？
Clearly, it's Hatsune Miku is pissed off that you named an island after her and don't even acknowledge her, so she's getting a bit of revenge. Otne looked serious as she quietly looked at me. Well, it might be coincidence. Stuff like this can happen frequently sometimes, and a lot of times people don't die in accidents. However, there's definitely something weird going on.
やっぱりそうだよね。
Yeah, it looked like she had been waiting for me to say those words. Her wavering look changed into one full of confidence. Otne, have you figured out the cause of all this? Otne didn't reply, but instead she stood up.
そろそろ帰ろうか。帰りながらいろいろとお話しするよ。
I could smell the scent of salt water riding on the wind. Since it was January, the ocean was still cold and the icy wind bit into our bodies. The red evening sun was reflected upon the crashing waves. It was a fantastic spectacle, almost like there were two suns. If someone told me you two are living in a dream, I would have believed them.
さっきの話の続きだけど。
You know, that's a thought. If the whole plot twist, when it gets to the inevitable reveal, if it's something like that, it's just like, oh, Yoshiyuki, your life is pretty much a dream. Or if it's like a twist, just like, Yoshiyuki is actually a dream character. Everyone else is real, but he doesn't fit. I mean, it seems... the idea of that seems absurd, but yet plausible at the same time in one case. Because remember, like, with Yoshiyuki in some routes, just like, particularly Anzu's routes, it's just kind of, like the bad ending, just kind of indicated that there was something odd about Yoshiyuki in general, but it's never really been explained. And if they, like, never gets explained what the reason for all that happening was, I'm going to be pissed.
弟くんはどうしてこんなことが立て続けに起きてるんだと思う？
Otne had her eyes fixed on the ocean as she asked me that. Quite possibly Otne and I were thinking the same thing. The two mysterious powers that I had. Cherry blossom trees that bloom all year round and never wither. Right from the start, Hatsune Island was quite a mysterious place. We didn't know the cause behind why I could create sweets, nor why the cherry trees never stopped blooming. Since it was difficult to grasp, there was no need to think about it. Mysterious power that made mysterious things happen. And the dream I saw earlier was proof that Utne had also been thinking about it.
私はね、この事件を解決しないといけないの。
Utne said it like she was trying to convince herself. Because you're a sorceress of justice, right?
え？
You're a sorceress of justice, aren't you? I slowly asked her again while looking her in the face.
弟くん。
I remembered our promise. Yeah, we're one body and soul. Utne looked at me, her eyes open wide in surprise. Her surprised expression gradually changed into a gentle smile.
そっか。思い出したんだ。
Yeah, just earlier today. But why did I forget it? It wasn't the kind of promise I think I'd forget. That was mysterious as well. When I was watching Utne's dream earlier, it was like the memory had been taken away from me.
それはね、私がそう望んだからだよ。きっ
You did?
と。毎日が楽しくて、ずっとそんな毎日を過ごしたくて。だから大変なことから目を背けてたんだ。お母さんの姿とか見てて、その役割がどれだけ大変なことか知ってたから。だから忘れるように望んだ。そんな魔法をかけたんだ。そしてきれいさっぱり忘れてた。大晦日の日にあのアルバムを見るまではね。
I see. That's why I felt slightly anxious about what Utne said that time.
自分の記憶すらもコントロールする高度な魔法を私がなぜ使えたのかわからないけど、その影響がきっと弟くんにも出ちゃってたんだと思う。弟くんが覚えてたら連鎖して私が思い出しちゃうもんね。
As she said that, she let out a big sigh.
ダメだね、私って。本当に大切な役割だったのに。お母さんから受け継いだ大切な役割。
What was that task?
簡単に言えば魔法使いの監視者みたいなものかな。
Guardian, huh?
ほら、魔法の力って便利じゃない？普通では起こせないようなことも起こせてしまう。
So, because of these magic powers, perhaps there's a link between that and what's been happening? But the way she's talking about it sounds like she knows more magic tricks than Yoshiyuki, that's for sure.
例えば、手のひらから和菓子を出したりね。
That's a very basic and kind of, I mean, can you imagine it in series where there's like action-packed magic users and then Yoshiyuki's thrown into battle, it's like, I've got a manju. Oh! Just like, oh, I should have not have taken part in this battle. They've freaking got fire coming out of their hands, ice, lightning, all kinds of shit. I wouldn't say it's that convenient, no. The manju just shows up and you have to eat it.
そうかもね。でも、魔法は怖いものなんだよ。時にその力は人を傷つける武器にもなる。
You know, I just pictured the most bizarre kind of way of using magic to torture someone, but not in the kind of way that she'd imagined. You know, people are ticklish, myself included. So, can you imagine a ticklish person and you, like, cast a spell that makes it like something is tickling all over their body? It's like, now that would be true torture.
悪いことを考える魔法使いがいるかもしれないしね。だから魔法の力を使って悪いことをする人がいないか、魔法が人間社会に悪い影響を及ぼしていないか監視する人が必要だったんだ。世界中にそういった役割を担った魔法使いがたくさんいるの。
Where? You know, that seems kind of weird the way she words that. It's just like, there are people with evil thoughts that have magic, but are just like, But do they act on the evil thoughts, though? I mean, doesn't that kind of make the difference? They could be like inside you'd be like, but in action you're just like, no. And by the sounds of this, it's like, I have no idea. So, now, yeah, just go with it.
でね、お母さんの家系もずっとそういう役割を担う家系の一つだった。お母さんは監視者だったんだよ。
Yuki-san was the guardian?
その役割は初音島に来て結婚して名字が変わっても変わらない。そしてお母さんが死んで、その役割は私が受け継いだ。
You know, with this whole guardian thing, was she, like, being a bit literal when she said that, just like, what if I had to clean the island, the whole island, every single day, or something like that? Is there some truth to it, or what?
だから
That's why you're a sorceress of justice, huh?
私はこの問題を解決しないといけない。この問題には絶対魔法の力が働いているから。このまま放っておいたら大変なことになってしまうから。
Hartnett tightly made a fist. That hand was shaking a little. I'm pretty sure she's anxious about it. It might be really dangerous. And it's a lot of responsibility. Yeah, I would take this a bit more seriously if it was kind of, you know, a bit more of the focus in general from the get-go. But it's only just recently been brought up with this whole thing. And, you know, up till then, and even still, the only kind of example we've got as magic is he can see into other people's dreams at random, and he can make candy appear. That's doesn't really create a just like, oh, justice, justice. We will find out the solution, and well, find out the answers, find what's behind this, and we will stop it and save the island, not the world, though, because that's you know, someone who summons candy in their hand can only do so much. She had to carry all of that responsibility within that tiny body of hers. Of course she'd be anxious, there's no way she wouldn't be.
あのね、弟くん。
She looked straight at me.
こんなことお願いするのはずるいかもしれないけど、私のこと助けてくれる？
Her eyes were swaying back and forth nervously, just like she did in my dream. She was nervous because if I refused, she would end up being all alone. I really don't like seeing her eyes like that. Besides, it's not that she'd need me to specifically confirm this. Of course I will, also you don't really need to actually ask me every single time. We're, you know, one body and soul. Her face lit up with a big smile.
ありがとう。
Now picture that in a literal kind of way. They'd have to literally just be one person, but with a combination of the two minds and all that and their feelings, everything just like combined into just one. But it's obviously not the case. But they happily grabbed my hand. In that cold winter wind, I could feel her small cold hand against mine. I softly wrapped my hand around hers to keep it out of the cold.
弟くんならそう言ってくれると思ったよ。
Yeah, well, of course.
弟くんがそばにいてくれればすごく心強いよ。
But Nay affectionately rested her head on my shoulder. You know, maybe that's, well, still don't know the reason, really, but maybe that's what she was trying to do that one well, the many times we've seen that scene, when she's outside his house and he's just like, what's she doing out there? And then when he calls out to her, she just walks off. Maybe that was her trying to see if she could get Yoshiyuki to help, but kind of was just like, nah, second thought, no. I don't know.
あのね、もし 私が自分の役割に負けそうになったとしたら、背中。
Oops, she whispered that to me. Yeah, leave it to me.
でも私すぐ弱音吐いちゃうかもよ。
Don't worry, I'll set you straight when that time comes, even if you need a spanking.
さすがにお尻は叩かれたくないな。
Besides, you're not alone, I'm here with you. Don't you worry about a thing.
そうだね。二人一緒ならどんな困難だってちょちょいのちょいだもんね。
She sounded really happy.
ねえ、弟くん。
Yeah?
大好き。
She softly whispered that and leaned herself against me. I could feel her warmth. That made me want to protect her no matter what was to come. Having sworn that in my mind, I held Otne's hand as tightly as I could.